saying, hear the voice of God, harden not your hearts, listen and receive the joy of the Lord. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
My friends, the Lord be with you. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Thank you, Lord. Jesus told his disciples a parable about the necessity for them to pray always without becoming weary. He said, "There was a judge in a certain town who neither feared God nor respected any human being. And a widow in that town used to come to him and say, 'Render a just decision for me against my adversary.' For a long time the judge was unwilling, but eventually he thought, 'Well, it is true that I neither fear God nor respect any human being. Because this widow keeps bothering me, I shall deliver a just decision for her, lest she finally come and strike me.' The Lord said, 'Pay attention to what the dishonest judge says. Will not God then secure the rights of his chosen ones who call out to him day and night? Will he be slow to answer them? I tell you, he will see to it that justice is done for them speedily. But when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth?'" My friends, the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Jacob Paczynski's parents clutched each other and wept Friday as they told a judge about the life their son could have had. "We can't see him. We can't hear his voice. We can't see him graduate. No grandbabies," Lisa Paczynski said. "To me, that's a life sentence." Jacob Paczynski's shooter, 15-year-old Darius Sanders, Jr., on Friday received a sentence of 35 years to life in prison. The mandatory sentence, maximum sentence of life, means Sanders will remain on parole for the rest of his life if he is released from prison. Sanders will be eligible for parole after he serves 35 years. The sentence from senior Erie County Judge Shad Conley was in the standard range of the state sentencing guidelines. Conley also sentenced Sanders to pay more than $15,000 in fines and restitution to Paczynski's family for medical costs. Sanders pleaded guilty in August to first-degree murder for fatally shooting Paczynski, 18, while trying to steal Paczynski's bicycle in the 200 block in East A Street on July 11, 2015. The Erie County District Attorney's Office agreed not to ask for life in prison without parole as a condition of the plea agreement. The sad reality, this isn't Chicago or New York or even Edinburgh. This is 5 miles away from this church. Darius is now 15 years old. When this nightmare happened, he was 14. 14. But this observation from Judge Conley is just staggering to hear. Conley cited Sanders' troubling prior record, including behavioral issues stretching back to when Sanders was 7 years old, in deciding the sentence. Quote, "Everything we've seen up to this point indicates that between the ages of 7 and 15, if you've changed, it's been for the worst," Conley said. "At this point, there's no question that you are a clear and present danger to this community." It started when he was 7. How does this happen? And how does this happen in our town? Or rather, how was this allowed to happen? And I'm sure there's all kinds of opinions, and everyone's, I'm sure, pointing fingers at Sanders' family or his schools or whoever or whatever. And the final answer as to how this was allowed to happen will never, ever be agreed upon. The only truth that we have is that this kid wasn't born evil, period. There are lots of people and places and things to blame here, and sadly, it's too late. But it does just make every single one of us, everyone, not just parents, step back and say, whoa, what kind of environment am I living in? What kind of home life am I providing for my children? What kind of image am I giving to my parishioners or my co-workers? What kind of life am I leading? One in this church on Saturday nights and Sundays, and a whole nother one the rest of the week? Am I helping, or am I preventing the people in my life from finding God and knowing His love and feeling His presence? Am I helping or preventing? These are crazy times, to be sure, my friends. And I don't think there's a person here whose life isn't going in 100 different directions all at the same time, or at least in directions that we don't really want them to go. Again, these are crazy times and we have crazy lives. However, can any one of us, or rather, does any one of us want to attach the word holiness to my own life? Simply, am I trying to live in holiness? In order for this to happen, there must be that special time to step away from everything, even for a few minutes, and just talk to God. Just simply pray. Am I a person of prayer? All the people that were or are in Derry Sanders' life, they didn't provide a life of holiness and prayer. They didn't. Do you know that? You know, when I meet with every couple before I have their wedding and we do the marriage preparation, I will always ask them, do you guys pray together? The vast majority of couples, in all these years, the vast majority of couples have never even thought about it. And they've been together for 5, 8, 10 years. Never even thought about praying together. If they can't pray with each other, how will they ever provide a prayerful home for their children? If you do a complete, unabridged analysis of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all that Jesus ever really asks of anyone who follows Him is to spend some time with Him. That's all. And if we do, though, if we become people of prayer, our life will show that we have. If you remember from last week's gospel, Jesus is traveling through Samaria and Galilee, making His way to Jerusalem, for the hour of His death is approaching. He had just cured 10 lepers, noticing that only the Samaritan, only the enemy of the Jews, was the one who came back thanking Him and praising God. Jesus is now challenging His disciples through these parables, emphasizing to them that the Father is constantly present, no matter what they will ever endure, no matter what direction their lives will ever go. Preparing them for that time when He will no longer be there, He is emphasizing to His disciples to always stay close to His Father, knowing the pain and the suffering as well as the everyday challenges of this life that they are going to endure and already were. He wants them simply to become people of prayer, disciples who never lose touch with His Father and not giving up when life isn't going the way they intended. If they stay close to His Father, if they always foster a prayerful relationship with Him, God will answer them in His own time and in His own way. But they can be assured that they'll always be cared for and they will always be loved, regardless of what was going on in their lives. If they stay persistent in prayer, if they actually become people of prayer, it will show in the manner of their lives. And the people in their lives will be influenced and comforted, and then they also will come to know the power. They also will come to know the very constant presence of God. What kind of environment am I living in? What kind of home am I providing for my children? What kind of image am I giving to my parishioners, my co-workers? What kind of life am I leading? One in this church on Saturday nights and Sundays, and a whole nother one the rest of the week? Do I have something going on the outside that I don't want anyone else to find out about? Am I helping or preventing the people in my life from finding God and knowing His love and feeling His presence? If the Lord Jesus were to come to me today, would He find any real faith in my life? If yes, praise the name of the Lord. If not sure, then the time to change is now. And truly, bringing God's presence and hope and love into my life and someone else's can be very exciting. I wish you God's peace.